In 1943, Adolf Hitler was certain of one thing. He believed he knew exactly where the Allies would strike. The maps on his table showed it clearly. Intelligence reports confirmed it. His generals agreed. The invasion would come at Pas-de-Calais. What Hitler never realized was that this certainty was not based on truth, but on a lie constructed so carefully, so convincingly, that even the most paranoid dictator in history never questioned it. While millions of soldiers prepared for battle with tanks, aircraft, and artillery, another war was already being fought. A silent war. A war of shadows. This war was fought with false identities, imaginary armies, and men who technically did not exist. And it would decide the fate of Europe. By the early years of World War II, espionage had become one of the most dangerous fronts of the conflict. Information was power, and deception could save or destroy entire armies. Germany had built a vast intelligence network across Europe. Agents moved through neutral countries. Radio operators transmitted coded messages from hidden apartments, and every scrap of information was analyzed in Berlin. But Britain understood something critical. The most dangerous weapon was not what the enemy knew, but what the enemy believed. Inside London, far from the front lines, British intelligence began planning something unprecedented. Not a single spy operation, not a single false report, but an entire alternate version of reality, designed specifically for German intelligence. This plan would later be known as the double-cross system, and it would change the war forever. By 1941, British counterintelligence made a remarkable discovery. Almost every German agent sent to Britain had already been identified. Some were arrested, some were turned, others were quietly neutralized. Instead of executing captured spies, British intelligence made a radical decision. They would use them. Each captured agent was given a choice: cooperate or disappear. Most chose cooperation. Thus was born a tightly controlled network of double agents, all transmitting carefully crafted information back to Germany under British supervision. Every message was checked. Every detail was deliberate. One mistake could expose the entire system, and the Germans were watching closely. Among all the spies involved in this deception, one man stood above the rest. His name was Juan Pujol Garcia. To German intelligence, he was known as Agent Arabelle. To the British, he would become Agent Garbo, and he would be remembered as the most effective spy of the entire war. Juan Pujol Garcia was not a professional intelligence officer. He was not trained in espionage. He had no powerful connections. He was an ordinary civilian from Spain. But he had lived through the Spanish Civil War and watched fascism tear his country apart. He hated extremism in all its forms and believed Hitler had to be stopped. When World War II began, Pujol made an extraordinary decision. He approached German intelligence and offered his services as a spy. To his surprise, they accepted. They believed he could travel to Britain and provide valuable intelligence on military movements. In reality, Pujol never even set foot in Britain. Instead, he stayed in Spain and began sending reports based entirely on imagination, newspapers, tourist guides, and pure creativity. He described factories, ports, troop morale, and movements that never existed. The Germans believed him. They paid him. They trusted him. And they never questioned why his reports often arrived too late to be useful. Eventually, British intelligence noticed something strange. German command was receiving detailed intelligence from a source who, according to all records, did not exist. MI5 traced the transmissions and uncovered Pujol's operation. Instead of arresting him, they recruited him. From that moment on, Agent Garbo was officially born. Under British supervision, Garbo created the most elaborate fictional spy network in history. He invented 27 imaginary subagents, each with their own personalities, political opinions, habits, and personal flaws. Some were described as unreliable, some as overly talkative, some as deeply loyal to Germany. A few were even reported dead, supposedly killed during Allied bombings that never happened. German intelligence mourned them. Garbo's genius was not in lying outright, but in mixing truth with deception. He sent accurate information, but only after it was no longer useful. He distorted details just enough to mislead without raising suspicion. His credibility became so strong that German intelligence began trusting his reports more than aerial reconnaissance. Eventually, Adolf Hitler himself received summaries based on Garbo's intelligence. A single civilian from Spain was now influencing the strategic decisions of the Third Reich. By 1943, the Allies were preparing for the greatest invasion in military history, D-Day. But success depended on one critical factor: surprise. If German forces were concentrated in Normandy, the invasion could fail. So the Allies launched Operation Fortitude, a massive deception designed to convince Germany the invasion would come somewhere else. Garbo became the centerpiece of this plan. Through his messages, German intelligence was told about a massive Allied force assembling in southeastern England. It was called the 1st U.S. Army Group. Its commander was said to be General George S. Patton, the aggressive, feared American General Hitler respected most. The problem was simple. This army did not exist. The Allies built inflatable tanks, wooden aircraft, fake radio transmissions, and dummy camps. From the air, it looked real, and Garbo reported every detail. German intelligence believed him completely. As 1944 approached, Hitler became obsessed with Pas-de-Calais. It was the shortest crossing of the English Channel, the most logical invasion point, and exactly where Garbo said the attack would come. Even when evidence suggested Normandy, Hitler hesitated, because Garbo had never been wrong. On June 5, 1944, Garbo sent one final message. He warned German intelligence of an imminent invasion, but he sent it deliberately too late. By the time it was read, Allied troops were already landing in Normandy. This final act sealed his credibility forever. Even after D-Day, German divisions remained positioned at Pas-de-Calais, waiting for a second invasion that would never come. Hitler had been fooled, but he still didn't know it. The greatest deception in military history was still unfolding, and the men behind it were still alive, still transmitting, still shaping the course of the war with nothing but words. While Hitler was obsessing over where the Allies would land, a completely fake army was coming to life, but only on paper and in his mind. The Allies created an entire force that didn't exist. It was called the 1st U.S. Army Group. They gave it a famous commander, General George Patton, someone the Germans deeply feared. They filled maps with fake units, fake divisions, and fake movement plans. But here's the crazy part. They went way beyond paperwork. They built inflatable tanks, inflatable trucks, fake artillery made of rubber and wood. From the air, German reconnaissance planes saw what looked like a massive army preparing to invade France at Pas-de-Calais, the shortest route across the English Channel. At the same time, Allied radio operators sent thousands of fake radio messages, entire conversations between units, fake orders, fake requests for supplies. German intelligence intercepted these signals and thought, this is real. But the most dangerous weapon wasn't the tanks. It was people. The Allies controlled double agents, spies who pretended to work for Germany but were actually loyal to Britain. One of the most important was a man the Germans trusted completely, so much that they called him their best spy in England. Everything he told them was a lie. He confirmed the fake army. He confirmed the fake invasion date. He swore the real attack would come at Pas-de-Calais. So when June 6, 1944 arrived, and Allied troops stormed the beaches of Normandy, Hitler refused to move his strongest armored divisions. He believed Normandy was a distraction, a trick. The real invasion was still coming somewhere else. Hours turned into days. German reinforcements stayed frozen, waiting for an invasion that would never happen. That delay changed everything, because by the time Hitler realized the truth, it was already too late. And here's the darkest twist of all. Even after the Normandy invasion succeeded, the deception didn't stop. For weeks, the Allies kept the fake army alive. Inflatable tanks stayed in place. Fake radio traffic continued day and night. Double agents kept sending reports. They told Germany, Normandy is still a diversion. Patton's army is ready. The real attack is coming very soon. Hitler believed it. He kept tens of thousands of elite German soldiers locked near Pas-de-Calais, doing nothing, while the real war was being lost in Normandy. One German general later admitted, "We were not defeated by soldiers. We were defeated by lies." Some of these spies paid a terrifying price. If even one detail slipped, if one message sounded wrong, they would have been tortured and executed. Yet they continued. Calm, precise, convincing. Historians now believe this single deception operation saved hundreds of thousands of Allied lives. Not by firepower, not by numbers, but by storytelling, by controlling information, by manipulating belief. Hitler didn't lose World War II because he lacked weapons. He lost because he trusted the wrong people and believed a story that was never real. And that's why many experts call it the greatest lie ever told in warfare.